Hey there, it's Lee Hoy, your OM System Ambassador, and I have a package down at my community center that is the new 100-400 version 2. And y'all know I wasn't the biggest fan of version 1 on the 100-400, but now it has the built-in IS sync, improved autofocus, and a slightly new construction. So I'm going to run down, get it, and we're going to take a first look at it here in a little bit. Stay tuned. Howdy from West Texas. I'm Lee Hoy, professional nature photographer, and this is my YouTube channel, Lee Hoy Photography. I'm an OM System Ambassador, photography workshop instructor for Wildside Nature Tours of Precision Camera and Video, and contributing author for the Journal of Wildlife Photography. Hey everyone, I'm back from the community center. It's been a wild day. Last night, I felt my first quake ever in my life, sleeping in bed. It startled me awake. I heard one of my gates out of my fence slam, and I felt the house shake. I thought, did a bear run into the house? Did one of the feral donkeys? It took me a minute, and I realized, ooh, that was an earthquake. So that was a wild night. The wind's whipping today. It's only about 50, but it's crazy out there. I drove down to the community center, and you know you've been gone from home for a while, you know, when I had a few packages pile up while I was gone. And none of these are what I was really waiting for. So the good news is OM System has sent me a copy of the brand new 100-400 version 2. I'm going to take it to my India Tigers workshop starting here in late February. And then I'm taking it with me to I go straight from India to Florida, where I'm going to my OM System only Mastering Birds in Flight workshop. Now, as a Texan, you got to have a good pocket knife. And I just picked this one up in Jackson Hole this fall. Look at that. That is mammoth ivory. That's the interior, and that's the exterior. So I love this new pocket knife. But let's dive right into this lens. Let's see what we got. So, you know, OM System is letting me, even though this lens has been announced, nobody has it. Just I think 2 of us, maybe 3, are getting to test this lens. And honestly, I've been very vocal on my website and on my YouTube channel and in the field that I am not the biggest fan of version 1. I know that it's a good lens. Gabriel Lugo, who's a birding guide for Wildside Nature Tours out of Puerto Rico, that's where his home is, and he covers the Caribbean like Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic. I know that he used that lens for quite a while before moving to the 150-400, and Gabriel got phenomenal shots with that lens. But here's the key. He didn't crop the crap out of his images. He made sure his shutter speed was up, because I taught him how to expose using live highlight alerts, and I taught him to keep his shutter speed up there. And he shot good birds. He made sure they were within a close working distance. He knew how to use the lens, and he would get phenomenal images. Yes, he since went to the 150-400. So here's the new box. You can see right there. This is the ED 100-400 F5.0-6.3 IS version 2. So one thing I've always been happy about is OM System has always packaged their stuff really well. There's the manual, which, let's be honest, for lenses, we don't really need. And most of you don't read the manual for your camera bodies anyway. That's why I have a job. That's why I have a mentorship program. So I have been really looking forward to getting to put my hand on this lens, because you guys know I'm a brutally honest reviewer. You know, I had Photo Pro contact me to review a tripod, and they didn't know I was already a Photo Pro user. I have the E6 and the E6L, which you guys have seen in prior videos. And it looks like I'm going to become one of their ambassadors. Stay tuned. I'm excited about that. Well, here is the 100-400. And, of course, you've got nice plastic lens hood. Now, I see people do this all the time out in the field. When they're out shooting, guess how their lens hood is? Like this. For God's sake, people, that's not protecting your lens. You will go buy some cheap-ass glass UV filter And my camera store salesman friends will be upset at me because that's a good moneymaker for camera stores. Why put a cheap piece of glass in front of expensive glass? Okay? You don't need a UV filter. It's a waste of money, waste of time. If you use your lens hood like this, that is most of the protection you're going to need on your lens. If you're walking through mesquite brush or thick brush somewhere, or the wind is whipping, sand, or like the other day in Yellowstone, the wind was blowing over 50 miles an hour, gusts even higher, snow pelting you like sand. Well, until you want to take a picture, just keep your lens pointed backward. If you're walking down a dirt road and a car's coming, point that lens away from it. But this is the protection you need. Always out, always on your lens, helping not only shade the lens from getting lens flare, but also protecting your lens, okay? So, one thing I really like about the new version, if you look here on the lens collar, you can now remove this quite easily. And I really like this design because it helps keep the grit out of the lens. So I haven't done this. Obviously I haven't read the manual because we just got it. So I'm going to unscrew this. Oh, look at that. Look how easy that comes off. Now, to be honest, I'm not going to be removing this lens collar and using it just for a tripod. And here's the reason. When you have a lens of this weight and length, even though this is not a heavy lens, this is very light. I don't know the specs. I'll put it in text down here when I edit this video. I'm not worried about specs. I'm not some stupid ass camera review website that is going to photograph this thing inside using a piece of paper with words on it. I'm actually going to take it out in the field and use it. This lens foot, this is where, let me grab my camera strap. Okay. If you've been out in the field with me, you know that the only camera strap I will use is the Black Rapid. This is the Slim Dual. I have the regular Dual. I have the Dual Sport. I have Single Sport. I really don't like any other camera straps. I think most of them suck. I know Peak Design. I see a lot of y'all using the Peak Design. And you'll go ahead and put it around your shoulder, but those little quick release clamps, yeah, that works great in the store when you're not wearing gloves. It does not work well in a lot of other situations. I have clients ask me to get that off all the time. If you like it, great. Don't ask me to like it. I hate it. So I add the 1-inch Kirk Arca Swiss clamp to the end of my Black Rapid strap. And that is going to attach right here on this lens foot. So this lens foot is going to be on this lens the whole time I'm using it out in the field, because that is my attachment point. Also because when I do shoot, and you see how quick this comes off, boom, there you go. Because when I shoot, I like to hold the foot of the lens. That way I can extend my finger out for manual focus. Like the other day in Yellowstone, when I was doing focus peaking, I needed to keep that finger extended for just fine tuning. And, to zoom, my hand is right here. If I remember correctly, I think they said this lens is a little smaller. I'm going to tell you what, this is a light lens. It is very light. I'm very impressed with that. Of course, now on the side, we see here that we have our IS switch. One habit to develop when you're out in the field, as soon as you grab your lens out of a bag, you need to check these switches on any lens that has switches on the side, because it is so easy to hit them. So easy to bump a lens, okay? To bump a lens switch, excuse me. So autofocus, manual focus. If you turn AF plus MF on in camera, that switch is basically irrelevant. If you do front button focus, that's going to be a pain in the ass at times. And then you've got your lens autofocus limiter switch. I never use the limiter switch on the side of the lens. I always do it in camera if I need to. So let's talk about the smoothness so far. Okay, so I like that. I like the fact that there's the lens lock switch here on the side. Now I can't zoom it, so for travel, putting it in a bag, flying, whatever, you're going to want to lock that to keep that from being jarred. I really got to say, I like the smoothness of this so far. The 150-600 has a tight and a loose setting. On the loose setting, if you hold the lens down, it's going to come open. I find the tight setting to be a hair bit too tight for my liking. I wish it were more. I think I like this amount of tension. course, obviously I love internal zooms over external zooms just because you have to deal with this. But to be honest, you know, the 150-600, when you put that on a lens and you zoom it all the way out, even with a battery grip, I find it a little front heavy. Still a phenomenal lens, but this is not going to be a problem. You know what? Let me grab a camera body and let's set it on there. So here's an OM1 Mark II. Let's get that put on there. Try to do this as quickly as I can here. Y'all can tell I plan out my videos in incredible depth. I hate doing that. If you want to, oh, by the way, if you want a slick production, this is not the channel for you. I had some ding-dong giving me grief over the white balance on the last video. Let me be clear. I just finished up 2 weeks of straight workshops in Yellowstone, driving in whiteout conditions, driving through over ice and snow, going over a pass, getting my clients to the airport, driving to Eric Rock's house, and at about 9-something that night, the day before the video came out, we filmed. We were in his living room. The white balance varied tremendously, and we shot it, talked for 40-something minutes, got you a cool video, and this jackass bitched about the white balance. If you were a bitch about that kind of stuff, go watch a Taylor Swift video. That's probably more to your liking. I work my ass off every week, week in, week out, and I do this because I love it, because I want to help you guys. If you're going to post a comment about my white balance, now if the audio's bad and you can't understand it, right, or the video's messed up, or like some of y'all pointed out, I forgot to add pictures to some videos, yeah, that helps me. But good grief, if you're going to nitpick crap like that and ignore the content, I don't care. So now I've got this on the body. Let me zoom that out. So here's what I like to think about when I'm first assessing a lens and how it feels. Of course, I always have a battery grip on my wildlife lenses. I don't put a battery grip on my macro or landscape or street photography bodies. I'm not as worried about battery power because I'm generally not using features that just suck it dry. It's easier to change batteries, you know, when you're doing landscape or whatever, and macro. So what I like to feel for is balance. Does it feel awkward in the hand? And so far, so here it is extended out. You know, I like to shoot. This lens plate, I feel like is a good size. It's not too long. One thing about the lens foots on OM system lenses, if you'll see, they're not flat. The only challenge for me is, and I haven't shot like this in a long time, so it's not really a problem. If you're going to put like a Wimberley clamp, not a Wimberley clamp, but I've got a Wimberley flash bracket. I have to add a longer bracket that's flat because it won't sit on here. But I'll be honest, I haven't shot birds with flash now in a very long time, so that's kind of a moot point for me. What I'm liking is how easy is it for me to zoom in and out. Now, to be honest, most time I shoot fully extended. I pick up birds in flight that way. So far, I'm liking how this fits. You know, for older folks, for birders who really just want to document a lot of the things they see, or, you know, let's be honest, sometimes it's budget limitations and you can't do the 150-400. I get that. I'm going to be interested to see how this works in the field. Obviously, it's a little bit slower than the 150-400, but I don't worry about what ISO I shoot at because I use DxO Pure Raw. Also, stay tuned. They contacted me. I might become one of their ambassadors as well. So I like this balance. Let's take off, just for craps and giggles. I've probably already put enough cuss words in my video for YouTube today. So now without the grip, how does this feel? You know what? That feels really good for the balance. And I feel like this lens is light enough that if you didn't have a grip, now I don't like shooting like this. My wrists, even doing the yoga, my wrists are not that flexible. This just doesn't feel very comfortable to me, but let's just say I had to. Now, when I shoot vertical, I will often I'll spin the lens foot down like this for this support to hold it. I do not like holding a lens like this. This never feels good to me, okay? I don't know if you can see that very well. So if I'm shooting vertical, I slide that down usually. My 150-400, I have so much grit and dirt under it, I can't spin it right now. I got to send it in to get that clean. So I got to tell you what, this is not bad at all without a grip. So if you're older or you got shoulder issues or whatever, you would be just fine if this is comfortable. Now what happens is without a grip, a lot of you don't shoot vertical shots. And remember my saying, a vertical subject often warrants a vertical composition. Let me put this grip back on. And you know, you got on the, oh, by the way, on the grip, you've got this pin, okay? And you've got your electrical contacts. Every now and then, just give those contacts a little blow and get that, you know, if there's any dirt, debris in there. So let's get this, oops, boy, howdy, I am. You know what, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see crap right now. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Now let's see how this feels shooting vertical. I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the few long lenses. Might be a little rear heavy, see that? Maybe a hair, but I think I prefer a little rear heavy than front heavy. I just realized how that sounds. I am a butt man, so maybe that's why that came out that way. I do prefer a little rear heavy over front heavy on my camera gear. I'm going to tell you what, that's really well balanced with the lens extended. I'm pretty impressed with this both with and without the grip, which is surprising because you guys know me, that's normally not how I'm going to be. I mean, I'm a brutally honest guy, so like if you want to do image critique, I always tell everybody if you just want an attaboy, show grandma. All right, so one thing I'm looking forward to testing this in India, you know, we're in Jeeps, and they can often get close. So this being a 100 versus a 150, I will have my 150-400 near me. I'm going to have both bodies and a lens right with me. This may come in handy when the tigers are super close and for other things. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this so far in terms of the handle, the design, the weight, you know. So I'll be doing a video about the autofocus, about the quality. I will show you all of that. So just so far, testing this thing in terms of balance, weight, design, functionality, in terms of ergonomics, so far I'm very happy. First time I've handled the lens, and yeah, you know, for the birder, for the budget-conscious wildlife photographer, I'll be honest, I hope this thing tears it up. I've heard from some folks at OM System that this is now much closer to the 150-600 than it was before. If this is closer to the 150-600 in terms of image quality and autofocus, this will probably then become one of the best valued lenses that OM System sells. That will be my gut feeling. If it's close to the 150-600, this is probably going to be one of the best valued lenses out there. So stay tuned. I leave February 24th for Austin. I'm going to be looking at, I've got an agent now to try to get some of my work into some high-end galleries in Austin, and or a gallery in Austin. Looking forward to selling hopefully some landscape prints and maybe occasionally a wildlife, a lot of black and white. And so I'm going to meet with her and look at some other potential, and then fly out for India and then go straight to Florida. So I've got some cool stuff coming up. Hey, for those of you that are always posting positive comments, and you know, there's nothing wrong with saying, Lee, I'm not sure I agree with you on here, but if you're going to be a whiner, don't be a whiner on my channel. I'm going to bust your ass. My cowboy hat has a pin that says no sniveling. This is a sniveling free zone. Hey guys, thank you for being a part of my online community. Go out there, capture some visually compelling images. We'll talk to you next time.